Hey people, this is my weekly rundown of interesting things in the world of entertainment. There's not really that much for me to talk about this week because the stories I've got are pretty simplistic and self-explanatory, but I will go through them because there were some interesting little things that came to my attention. There were a series of Avengers posters that came out from the new movie, and they look pretty decent. A lot of it's stuff that we've already seen before, but the one that kind of caught my attention the most was the Captain America one, because I feel like the Captain America costume for the Avengers is the one that people have most been back and forth in terms of their approval. And there are some pictures that it looks pretty good, and some that it just doesn't look as good. And I feel like this poster is one of the ones where it doesn't look as good, because to me, I think the neck area is a little bit awkward looking, not coming up all the way to the chin on the costume, and the helmet just doesn't look as natural in when you see Chris Evans wearing it as it does in some of the concept art pictures. So hopefully when we see it in the film, it will look better. And a lot of these things look better when you see like officially released photos from the film. But personally, the shots where I've seen Steve Rogers without the mask on and the helmet and everything, the costume looks better to me. It looks like it works better. But moving on from that, this weekend is obviously Super Bowl weekend, and they will be releasing a new 30-second TV spot for the Avengers with some exciting new footage probably, so keep an eye out for that. Even if you're not a football fan, which I'm not, I'm still going to watch the game anyway to see commercials and stuff, and that's something to look out for. Also, there is a new picture from G.I. Joe Retaliation released that features Dwayne Johnson and Bruce Willis, who are pretty awesome action stars in their own right, so having them both in this movie is pretty cool. And there's not that much going on in this picture, but I thought I would comment on the fact that The Rock always seems to be wearing these like really tight t-shirts. Like I watched Fast 5 not that long ago, and his t-shirts are like ridiculously tight in that, and they're ridiculously tight in this picture too. It's like his t-shirts are tighter than my undershirts. It's ridiculous. It's like you could just get a t-shirt that's fit you, or we all get that you're big and muscular. But I'll leave The Rock alone. I mean, he's a cool action star. I like his movies. Well, some of them. A lot of them are kind of lame, like Race to Witch Mountain, Tooth Fairy, which I unfortunately watched under some circumstances. Don't watch that movie. But moving on, the costume has been released for this upcoming comics event in Spider-Man called To the Ends of the Earth, or Ends of the Earth, I believe it is. And the costume looks pretty cool. It doesn't look like your usual Spider-Man costume, like the build of it. It's not like the usual skin-tight kind of thing. It's got a more armored look of it, which gets me curious about what is going on in this story that he would be able to need to make this kind of armor more so than his usual costumes. And if you've been reading Spider-Man over the last couple of years, he's come out with more new costumes these few years than I feel like he made in the last 10 before that. It's interesting, but they do serve purposes, so I'm excited to see where this one goes. The next bit of news I have is that there's a rumor that they are possibly doing a Back to the Future musical, and I'm a big fan of Back to the Future, and I'm not one of those people who's like, musicals suck. I mean, I watch more Disney songs on YouTube than I would care to admit, so I really don't mind musicals like that, but it's just hard for me to imagine how a Back to the Future musical would really work, and how it would really do anything worthwhile. It just seems like a cheesy idea that's going to turn out badly, like the Spider-Man musical. But I mean, I hope if they do it, it does well, and maybe they'll have some good songs in there. I mean, you got the 80s theme, the 50s theme, and if they try to work the sequels in there, they've got some other kind of stuff that they can play around with there. So honestly, I'm not really looking forward to seeing this if it does come out, but if it does become a reality, I hope it's good. And my final story, just to end on a high note, is that Matthew Vaughn will be returning to direct a sequel to X-Men First Class, which is exciting because he did a good job with the first movie, and was looking for a while like he wouldn't come back to direct the second one, or maybe that was Kick-Ass. But yeah, it's been confirmed that he's coming back to X-Men First Class, and I'm not sure where they're going to go with this sequel, but hopefully they've got some cool ideas there. I mean, they can introduce some of the X-Men that they didn't introduce in the first one, like Cyclops, Jean Grey, and stuff. I'm not sure how long this would take place after the first film, but another idea that I think would be very interesting to play around with is the Sentinels, because in X-Men 3 they had the Sentinels in the Danger Room, or maybe they had like a body part of a Sentinel or something, but we never actually got to see the Sentinels in the movies, like actually being used against the mutants. So I think that could be a very cool story to see in a first-class sequel, as part of why they know what Sentinels are to put in the Danger Room. Like, they never really explained that. So I've got my fingers crossed for that. But other than that, I really don't know what to do with the sequel. So hopefully Matthew Vaughn has some kind of idea, and the people who are writing the film. But that is really all I've got for this video. Thank you very much for watching. If you like what you saw, please subscribe. See you next time. Like the video, and yeah, that's about it.